As the playoffs start today, I thought I would drop a couple videos about some players and teams and what I think the future holds for their playoff aspirations. But as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, I am going to talk about Damian Lillard and why I believe he has a chance to do something very special and solidify his status as an NBA legend. Because we've seen Dame do incredible things, whether it's hit a game winner against the Houston Rockets to close out the series, or it's against the Oklahoma City Thunder just last year by hitting the shot heard around the world that gave him 50 points in a closeout game that sent the Oklahoma City Thunder into a rebuild. It seems like first round matchups are Damian Lillard's specialty. It seems like many people have anointed Damian Lillard as one of the most clutch players of his generation. This is a guy that can pull up from 30 feet without hesitation, and once he hits that logo, you just know his name is going to be lived up to. And in the first round this year, he's going to face the Los Angeles Lakers, led by LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And a lot of people have asked the question, with Nurkic returning from injury and Damian Lillard having the games of his life, it looks like Portland has found a new wave of energy to bring into this bubble in Orlando, that maybe they have the potential to do some damage to the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round and maybe even upset them. But it is a question. I'm not saying I believe it, but it's something that should be asked, and I understand why. Because when you look at this Portland Trail Blazers team, everything changed as soon as they got Nurkic back from his injury. Because before Nurkic went out, it seems like people forgot that Nurkic was one of the better bigs in the NBA. As so far in the bubble, he's put up 18 points per game, as well as grabbed 10 rebounds a game and facilitated 4 assists, while shooting 50% from the field and also 89% from the free throw line, as well as recorded a steal and a half and 2 blocks. So when it comes to Nurkic's production, offensively he can give you production that's very comparable to some of the better bigs in the league, and defensively he is far better than Hassan Whiteside, especially in pick and rolls, because let's be honest, Hassan Whiteside is only good when it comes to rim protection. So when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, Nurkic is a huge plus that this team desperately needs, because we all know defense is not at all the Trailblazers' strong suit in any way, shape, or form. But it isn't just Nurkic that has stepped up. We've seen the increase in play of Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr., when it comes to his shooting, he may be a little bit streaky, but when he's on, he is on. As in the bubble, he has averaged 17 points while shooting 52% from the field and 51% from behind the arc on over 8 attempts a game, as well as 78% from the free throw line. He has been a key contributor primarily with his 3-point shooting, but another guy that has contributed especially with his 3-ball has been Carmelo Anthony. Now for those who have followed this channel for a good amount of time, y'all know I am not Melo's biggest fan. I think he can be very selfish, and in the past I have criticized him for whether it's comments he's made or the things he's done. It seems like he's never been willing to sacrifice just a fraction of his pride and ego for the sake of the team, but in Portland it has been a completely different story, because not only has he taken that step back and realizing he isn't what he used to be and that he can defer to other guys that are indeed better, such as Damian Lillard and McCollum, but he has excelled and has came through with some of the most clutch shots so far since the NBA restart. Because Carmelo Anthony, who's never really been that great of a 3-point shooter, really that's not his game. The mid-range game is his game, as well as those post-ups and the jab steps. He's done some of those moves, don't get me wrong, but he's come through in the clutch with very critical and key shots for the Portland Trailblazers, especially from behind the arc, because not only is he averaging 17 points as well as grabbing 7 rebounds a game in the bubble, but he's also shooting 47% from behind the arc on 4 attempts a game, albeit. But when you watch those games, he's hitting shots, whether it's in the 4th quarter when they're down by 2 points, or it's when they're up by 3 and they just need a shot to close the deal. It seems like no matter what the situation is, when the Portland Trailblazers need a clutch shot, whether it's a 3 or a 2, Damian Lillard and McCollum attract so much attention that the defense just forgets about Carmelo Anthony, and he makes them pay for it. And that's exactly what the Portland Trailblazers need. Sure, defensively, Melo's not going to give them that much production, and he may be a liability in certain situations, but offensively what he's giving the Portland Trailblazers is an option other than Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum whenever they need offense instantly. Whether it's scoring 28 against Dallas, shooting 60% from 3, or it's also dropping 21 against the Memphis Grizzlies in the play-in game for the Western Conference 8th seed. It seems like Carmelo Anthony has found the perfect role in Portland, and even though he may not be a superstar or have that impact in any way, shape, or form, he's still found a way to contribute towards a team that is a playoff team in the Western Conference, and for that I have to salute Carmelo Anthony for proving all the doubters, including myself, completely wrong. But then that leads to the two stars, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. Do they have what it takes to get the job done and cause some ruckus in the first round against the Lakers led by LeBron and AD? And to that I say that these are some of the greatest guards in the game today. You got CJ McCollum, who can pull up from anywhere on the court. From mid-range he is an assassin, and from behind the arc he's a fairly decent three-point shooter. And even though defensively he's not great at all, offensively he gives Damian Lillard a very reliable second option whenever defenses focus on him. And with his range, CJ McCollum can definitely benefit to attack and get to his spots and score rather efficiently. But then that leads into the guy that needs to take over this series, and that is Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard in the bubble has been insane, and trust me guys, I have seen crazy things. I've seen Kobe Bryant drop 60 in a closeout game. I've seen LeBron come back from a 3-1 lead. I saw Steph Curry win the first ever unanimous MVP, but seeing what Damian Lillard has done in Orlando so far has been incredible and amazing to watch. Trust me, this is a guy that has definitely been one of the better scorers that the league has ever seen over the past couple of years, and actually since he entered the NBA, he has had an impact in every single season, and it's about damn time that people start to understand just how good Dame Dollar really is. And now that he is in the first round of the playoffs yet again with an obstacle that looks like he cannot overcome it, it's time for Dame to turn on that switch and go Dame Dollar on these brothers one more time. Because it looks like no matter what Damian Lillard does, there are people that question him and act like he's not on the level of other stars and some superstars in the NBA. And though I don't subscribe to the whole Damian Lillard is slept on theory, I do believe Damian Lillard does get unnecessary hate from some people for reasons I don't know why. Maybe it's Oklahoma City Thunder fans or Paul George fans to be specific, but it seems like whether it's Skip Bayless or trolls on Twitter, people have minimalized what Damian Lillard has done in his career because he doesn't have the success or the accolades that a lot of other players have, primarily in the playoffs, as though he's had his moments like the ones against Houston and OKC, whether it's the series or the shot. It seems like the resume that Dame has gotten for being this great playoff performer is tied into 2 shots, and that's really it. You could just look at what happened against the Pelicans in 2018, as a 3 seed being swept by a 6 seed is completely unacceptable, and then to top it off, he was outplayed and outperformed by Drew Holiday. Or you could look at what happened just last year in the Western Conference Finals, as they were up in all 4 games against the Golden State Warriors without Kevin Durant, and Damian Lillard played horrific. But despite his numerous playoff failures or successes, the ups and downs, this is a man that when his team needed him to step up so they could will themselves into the playoffs, he put them on his back, and in the last 4 games went undefeated and averaged 51 points on 56, 49, and 95 shooting splits. When it was time for him to step up, he did so. And sure, it's not the playoffs, it isn't the second round of the NBA Finals, it's just so he can get an 8th seed. But if that's what he's willing to do and what he has to do to get his team to the playoffs, then more than likely, he's not going to be able to do it to help them get any further. Because this is no longer the Memphis Grizzlies, this is no longer the Sacramento Kings, this is no longer the Brooklyn Nets that he has to deal with. This is the Los Angeles Lakers, a team that features a top 5 player in LeBron James and another top 5 to 10 player depending on how you view him in Anthony Davis, who is not only an MVP candidate but is also a candidate for the Defensive Player of the Year as well. And as great as Damian Lillard is, he's going to have to rise to a whole nother level of superstardom in order to overcome this obstacle. And I could spend all day talking about the Lakers' weaknesses, especially on the perimeter after the loss of Avery Bradley, but it would be pointless because we all know the Blazers have trash defense. They've been letting everybody score on them, and when you got a guy like LeBron and add AD into the equation, I think it's pretty clear they're about to get career numbers on the Blazers. But if there's one man that's shown that he's willing to rise to the occasion and put his team on his back and will them to a victory that nobody has saw coming, yeah, that man is Damian fucking Lillard. And you want to talk about NBA legends? Well, a new one will be made if he can pull that off. But that concludes this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit that like button as well as comment your opinions down below if you agree or disagree with anything that I said. Also hit that subscribe button and that bell for post notifications. Check out the links in the description box. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. Y'all have a great day. I'm out. Peace.